Hey guys, Kyle the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing my review for Dragon Ball Super episode 105, and this was a Master Roshi episode, and you know what? For the most part, right up until the end, I love the fuck out of this episode, because the thing I really freaking dug about this episode is I feel this episode did one main thing right, which is that, well, I think as of, I feel a lot of the times in Dragon Ball in general, unless you're watching Dragon Ball, but unless you're watching just regular Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball Z afterward, I feel the one thing I feel we've almost forgotten about Master Roshi is just how tactical and how smart he is. Because that was one of the main things that was definitely proven in this episode, is that when Roshi was doing battle in this episode, he was basically analyzing all his opponents, and he was deducing how much of a threat they posed to the other members of the Universe 7 team. So it's one of those things where, yes, Roshi knows he's not the strongest character, but I think he knows that, but he knows what his role on the team is, which is to analyze the threats to the Universe 7 team and do his best to take out any of them, any of the threats that would pose a detriment to, like, Goku, or to the stronger members of the team like Goku or Vegeta, or dare I even say Frieza, for God's sakes. But Roshi was badass through what he knew he needed to do in this. Roshi's moments of being badass were depicted by him knowing what exactly his role was and what he needed to do. Now, of course, with that being said, I think we do need to have a talk about the Roshi death scene just quickly here. And I'm not gonna lie, the whole Roshi death scene, that was a wasted opportunity. For me, that was a bit of a wasted opportunity for me. Because if you think about it, the Roshi death, like, the thing is that this is me just kind of basing it off the constant rumors we've been getting that Goku is going to use the Super Dragon Balls in order to restore all the destroyed universes. But in the essence where that rumor kind of turns out to be true, the thing about it, I think Roshi's death would have provided an interesting moral dilemma later on for Goku, which is restore the universes or restore Master Roshi. I mean, again, I'm only operating under the assumption that the wish to restore the universe is what Goku is going to do, but if that rumor does turn out to be true, I think it would have provided an interesting moral dilemma for Goku, and because of the way that he was revived, because of the way that Master Roshi was revived in this episode, yeah, I feel it was just a total missed opportunity on the Dragon Ball Super team's part. Like, they really could have done something with that, but they didn't. But aside from that, like I said, this one was a lot of Roshi heavy, and like I said, just seeing him go in and just the way he did it a lot of the times was just both hilarious and, in a way, just badass. I mean, the first fight he was up against that woman who was trying to seduce him. It's okay. On one hand, I was kind of like, okay, so he went through that training for nothing. On one hand, when it did seem like it was starting to work, I was like, okay, so he basically went through that training for nothing. But, and I will admit, it did seem like it was going down the road, but when he pulled that 180 and was actually using, I guess, his perviness to his advantage in order to win against the woman who defeated him, or I guess, or forced the woman who was seducing him to surrender. That was just kind of this, like, whoa, like, yeah, that was just a badass moment, and only ways that Roshi himself could do. Like, technically the woman basically decided to surrender because she was scared shitless, but by Roshi's buff form and how he basically came across as a creeper. Like, I know, but yeah, it was still pretty cool. That first fight was still pretty funny and cool. Like, there's been this stigma lately, I think, that people are suddenly starting to hate on Roshi. I mean, I can kind of see where they're coming from, I guess, but at the same time, guys, I've always kind of seen Roshi as a creeper to begin with, so like all this stuff of people saying he's being portrayed as a rapist or whatnot, guys, he's practically always been a goddamn rapist. It's nothing fucking new, okay? He's always been a goddamn creeper, a goddamn racist, like whatever you want to call him. He's just been all that and more to me. Like that's all I've ever seen him as, aside from a badass fighter, of course. But yeah, and the second fight was him. The second fight is another interesting with his second opponent, with him fighting with him sealing that illusionist away with the Mafuba. Like it was a nice touch and a throwback to old Dragon Ball, but it does actually make me. I guess the Mafuba thing does make me question a little bit of how Dragon Ball Super is trying to legitimize that one right now, like him surviving the after effects of the Mafuba. Like I was thinking about that as I was watching the episode, and the only way I can think that Dragon Ball Super and and Toei Animation are trying to legitimize that one is that I want to assume how they're approaching it is that how they're approaching the Mafuba at this point is that the stronger the opponent is, the worse the after effects of the technique are. And I know that's probably going to lead to some comments in the comment section. People going, okay, then if that's the case, then why didn't it? People asking in the comment section, oh, okay, if that's the case, then why wasn't Goku or Trunks all that weekend when they used the Mafuba against Zamasu? Well, when honestly, guys, I think it's just the fact that okay, the only thing with Zamasu, I'm willing to kind of think it's one of those things where the only thing the guy really, the Zamasu himself, the dude wasn't even really that strong to be honest with you. Like Goku Black was strong, but Zamasu himself, he wasn't all that strong, guys. The only thing he had going for him was his wish that gave him immortality. That's it. Like Zamasu was actually kind of a bit of a crusty weakling. I'm just gonna say that right now. I know it's gonna piss a lot of people off, but Zamasu as a whole, yeah, he was a bit of, Zamasu was a bit of a weakling, and so it does kind of fit in a way with their probable approach to the Mafuba of that the stronger the opponent is, the more powerful effects it has on a person's body. So yeah, and like I said, I think if that is the case of how it's going, it does work in this case because let's face facts that woman he was facing, she was definitely no King Piccolo. We can definitely assume that. So yeah, with Zamasu, like I said, he only had his immortality going for him. He didn't really have much else. So yeah, and then his third fight it was Ganos, I believe. That one was interesting because I guess you could argue the reason why he was struggling to begin with is because Ganos was because not only was he probably one of the stronger fighters, but I think in Mafuba maybe the woman was strong enough to actually leave a bit of an lasting effect from using the Mafuba on him because he was getting tossed around, but it was still a pretty good fight. So it was still a pretty good fight, especially when he was using that Kamehameha. That was just like old school Dragon Ball shit to me. Although Roshi's fight with Ganos himself, I guess, seeing Ganos himself, it did bring up an interesting thing that I'm not sure if they're recycling an old. It did seem like they were recycling basically with Ganos. It seems like with Ganos' little thing of becoming stronger with each fight he does, it feels like they were basically recycling the whole thing that they set up of the Saiyan physiology. Like we know that as Saiyans continue to fight, they definitely get stronger and stronger. And I feel that with Ganos, Toei and Toriyama were kind of recycling that pretty much that entire logic and physiology of the Saiyans. I feel they applied that to Gano, so they're recycling an old physiology that they already used. So I guess that is my one complaint about the fight, but overall it was still awesome. Just like, yeah, this whole episode, it was just amazing at seeing Roshi go in and just kick ass, take names. Yeah, it was just amazing. Definitely a few bumps in the road. I can't deny that. But overall, it was just it was a good episode to showcase Roshi, I think, and just how far he's come, and just how serious we how and it just reminded me why I think why we as Dragon Ball fans love Roshi. I think. And that's one thing I think people are feeling to kind of overlook is that, yes, Dragon Ball Super does have problems, but I think the one thing we can definitely say with this tournament is that it's reminding us why we basically love what this is why we love all these characters that are on this Universe 7 team. So yeah, I can't fault it for just reminding us why we love these characters, honestly. Also, and one final scene I do want to mention before I call it quits with this video is that scene with Beerus and Tella arguing. That shit was funny, but what made it even funnier and hilarious, or actually hilarious, was just Zeno and his logic. Like, Zeno said, it's when they were arguing about whether or not the Mafuba and the ceiling jar was fair play, and then Zeno said, it's neat, so it's safe. It's like, like seriously, you could probably show like you could probably show Zeno nearly anything he'd think it was cool, so it's safe or whatnot in this tournament. But yeah. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, or follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.